Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Monday night's Paranormal Question of the Day. We'll be right back right after the short intro. Hey, everyone! Hey, everyone! This is Darren Bus with Paranormal Question of the Day. Tonight's guest is Paige Dalton and Kara Phillip. Now, they are part of the Into the Obscure podcast, which you can find it on Facebook and also on YouTube as well. They are paranormal investigators. Kara used to work at the old Juliet prison, so we'll get to talk a little bit about that and get to know about Kara. Also, Paige Dalton is a historian, paranormal investigator, so we'll get to learn more about Paige. They have both done a lot of stuff, so we'll get into all that as much as we can. So join us for the ride, get some popcorn, get some soda. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're coming up next. And
Hi.
we are back. So it is Monday once again. Out of 365 days a year, we are on number
We
what?
made it. Yep.
Number 5 or something like that.
Yeah, not too many yet.
So, and tonight we have a special guest with Kara Phillip, and we were supposed to have Paige Dalton on tonight, but there was some communication issues going on there, so she'll be on another time. So we'll have her on. Hi, Amy. How you doing? And Taryn will be in momentarily when she gets home. She's at work, I believe. Hey, Scott. So, other than that, yeah, it's Monday. So,
It's Monday.
yeah. So, Kara, you want to tell the fine folks in the chat there of who you are and when was your first paranormal experience, and if that's what got you into paranormal or was it something else?
All right. So, my name is Kara Phillip. I am most recently into the obscure is transitioning, so no longer a podcast. We are going to be exclusively on Paraflix, Paige and I, with Into the Obscure. So we are filming season 1 right now. So we're really excited to be able to, have that whole season come out when it's ready in time. So watch out for Into the Obscure on Paraflix. And my first paranormal experience is the one that I don't remember. It's one I had to be told about. So my parents moved from a condo to a house when I was about two and a half. And as the story goes, they were, I think the house was already, accepted an offer or whatever. This is a long time ago. So, I think it was a little less formal and difficult than it is now, but they accepted an offer, the people that built the house. And um, my parents and I walked in, and I'm an only child. So, and I was blonde for real, not a paid for blonde when I was little. So this little blonde girl, and Mr. Bauer built the house. It's actually the Bauer subdivision in a suburb of Chicago. He built the house. It was a farm. It was all farmland. It was an oak lawn. And that was once upon a time, like where they did the farming to feed Chicago. I don't know how long that lasted. I think pretty quick. It was a suburb, but he built the house and houses came up around him. So it was an old, nice old house. They had one daughter who was blonde, I guess. This is what I'm told. And she never did move out, never got married or anything. And eventually Mrs. Bauer died. Honestly, I don't know if it was in the house or hospital or anything like that. But when Mr. Bauer and I guess the daughter were moving to Arizona. So this is a long, long time ago. And Mr. Bauer saw my parents walk in and me, and he said, "You guys have to have the house. It's for you. So if if you want it, if you're interested, of course, not giving it, selling it, but he chose to sell to my parents as opposed to whoever else he already made the deal with." So okay, I guess we're meant to live there, right? We're meant to have this experience. I got the same bedroom as their daughter. My parents had their same bedroom. It was a 2-bedroom house. And You had to walk past it. Actually, originally the bedroom, like the kid bedroom, didn't even have a door. It was just like a giant landing because it was like an old farmhouse. They never, so I'm always like, where did this daughter sleep when she was an adult? That seems wild. I don't know what they did, but so I had her bedroom and that was fine when I was little. So my mom would, walk down the stairs to go to the bathroom, would walk back up, and she would hear, and this is, a long time ago before there were radios, TVs, all of that everywhere. Things were actually pretty silent. She would hear somebody talking, like a woman talking. So my mom can also hear things and see things, but we just, we don't actually talk about it. That we think it's so normal, I think is what it is.
Mhm.
So she would hear somebody talking and I would babble back and she would never. One day I was like, but did you do anything about it? Did you? And she goes, no, I just, and she just, because she always kind of would hear things, see things, but didn't take, much stock in it or worry about it too much. She never really would say anything. And my dad is totally not a believer. So if she would have said something to my dad, he would have been like, okay, and she's like, I didn't think there was anything threatening. Nothing seemed wrong with the situation. It was fine. So what am I going to do? Like, what am I going to stop and what am I going to tell your dad about? Right.
Mhm.
So she never did anything. And she actually said more recently, she goes, now that I think about it, I kind of forgot there had been an empty lot next to the house. And it would be during the summer, she would hear like men, around a fire drinking, like that sound coming from the empty lot, for a long time. Eventually a house was built there and I think she sometimes heard it, but now a house was there. You can't, she was like, I'm just going to assume it's the living people. Probably wasn't
Mhm.
though. So that was my first experience that it was just always taken for granted that it was Mrs. Bauer. Just, I mean, and I always felt like there was a presence. My room always just felt like the best bedroom that could ever be. I always felt like very protected and comforted, and it was just the best place. When I was, and we always just took for granted that she was there. So when I was about 12 or 13, I had a computer. I remember this really well. One of the big computers, they were huge then. Who knows what I
Oh,
was
yeah.
doing on? I don't even know what you did on computers back then, but you had it and you were on it. So I was on the computer, probably something with AOL or whatever. And I saw not even where there's a door, but I saw her, I saw her like out of the corner of my walk out and just walk around. I felt her, like touch my shoulders and it felt like she was saying, "It's time for me to go." Like and at the time I thought, "Oh, cuz you're okay," which is true, probably, that wasn't wrong. I bet Mr. Bauer passed away, that was probably about the right amount of time that it was appropriate. So I bet she was like, "You're fine. I'm going. Like, I don't need to stay here with you anymore. I got better things to do." And she like walked out then the door was over here. I saw her like out of the corner of my walk out the door and I kind of sat there for a second. Then I jumped up. By then we put a wall up with a door, we made it a real bedroom. And I say we, my parents did. I jump up, I look out the door. Of course, she's not there, but I was like, in my mind, I was going to obviously see her walking down the stairs to walk out the front door or something. But of course, she wasn't there. So those are my early experiences. My bedroom thereafter felt different. The house felt different. I was very aware that somebody wasn't there. And I think there was still some presences in the house, but it never was warm and comforting like it was with her. So um, those are my first experiences, like, just totally taking for granted that maybe we see and hear ghosts, and this is a normal thing. And my mom, to this day, like, on her side of the family, I think that's where we get it. We all have some abilities. It's not unheard of to say, like, at a family thing, "Well, that house is haunted," right? And everybody will be like, "Oh, yeah, this is what I saw there." And then this other, and we all nobody gets excited about it. Nobody is all, "I can see or hear ghosts." Everybody's just like, "Oh, yeah, this is what I saw and heard." So I grew up with it being kind of laissez-faire and just like, obviously.
Mhm.
My mom would be like, "Do you feel anything here?" And I, sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. So, and I grew up in Chicago area, Chicago Catholic. So I always kind of call that, like, you grow up, with Ouija boards around and there's this ritual and mystique and there's, you're just used to all these stories and Bloody Mary and sleepovers always have this, like, paranormal component to them, and so I grew up just kind of spooky, like a lot of us do. I grew up that cemeteries, a lot of my family is buried at Resurrection Cemetery, the home of Resurrection Mary. So this was all just normal stuff. And as a teenager, then going to Bachelor's Grove was, the thing you did at night. And
Mm-hmm.
how exciting. You're running from the cops. It's obviously super haunted. You
Right.
take pictures full of lens flare. I still, I have them. And we look at them now and you laugh. You're like, we all have the same exact pictures of the same lens flare, the same everything, but we knew that this was we knew that this was the guardian of the gate, all this stuff. It's just funny when you look at them now, but it was just such a normal part, all these spooky things, all this paranormal stuff and ghost stuff and just these normal conversations. So that's what brought me to the paranormal, but I didn't think that much of it. It was so normal and I took it for granted. And that was before there was like all the TV shows and everything. So I just kind of thought that's how we all were and didn't think too much about it. I moved to West Michigan for school and stayed there for a little while. And I realized the whole world is not spooky. The first time driving past a cemetery, really noticing a cemetery, they don't have fences around their cemeteries. There aren't gates. There's just cemeteries and people could just walk in all the time. And I was like, how do you not, why is there no fence? What's going on? And they're like, why would there be a fence? Why would there not be a fence? Well, why would you have one? So like teenagers don't go there at night and, drink and smoke there and do stuff in the cemetery, look for ghosts. And they're like, no. And I started to realize then that was how I grew up is different, and that whole seeing and hearing ghost thing or feeling them is different too. That's not, I don't want to say it's not normal because of course it's normal, but it's not everywhere. So eventually all the paranormal shows started really like coming out, being a thing, bigger and bigger. But I was busy with little kids, I was busy with little kids. I was still living in West Michigan for a while, eventually moved back here. They were still little, but moved back here and kind of forgot about ghosts, right? I moved back into that house, my parents' house when I moved back, from West Michigan. And well, Mrs. Bauer wasn't there, so didn't think that much of it, just whatever. That was like so all this is just like a distant whatever. So I was so far removed and so like shut off in my brain for so long. And then so I'm a nurse now, but I started the journey then and I became a CNA, a certified nurse assistant. And I started working in a very just objectively creepy assisted living. Objectively, everybody's going to think it. And
hold on
I started to see things. Yeah. Taryn, is Taryn going to join us? Come on, Taryn.
Hello. I must have bugged out. I'm like, what is happening? I'm on my computer, and all of a sudden I start hearing a phone, and I'm like, what is happening? I'm like, I don't even know what, my phone's not ringing. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I must have called you by accident. I'm like, I'm bugging out right now. I didn't even see I was calling anybody, so I didn't even know where to go to hang it up. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. I'll wait for you to come on.
I am so sorry.
That's right. Hey, my first phone call on live.
Well,
I think that's pretty exciting.
Wait a second. What? Darren,
you're on. Taryn, you're live.
Okay, wait a minute. It says I'm totally talking to somebody else. All right, hold on a second. How did I call you? I don't even know where to hang it up, Darren. I have no idea where to hang it up. Hold on.
You may just have to turn the phone off.
I don't know where to. If anybody knows where I can go to, can you see me?
No, I got you on the.
This is crazy. I apologize. I am so sorry for what is happening right now.
I love this.
Hold on a second. Oh my God, this is insane. What is happening?
Hey, ratings will go up now.
No, because I have no idea how to get off of it. Hold on. I am so sorry.
I can hang up.
Oh, hang up on me. Yes.
Okay. That would do it. Yeah. That's adorable. I love that so much.
Well, it's better than the last call I had last year. Hey, Lori. There she is.
She's coming.
Hi.
Almost. There she is.
I am so sorry.
That was a whole ride. I love it.
It's okay.
That's
It's okay.
fantastic.
And then I will be honest with you, the first like couple seconds, I didn't even know it was Darren because there was another name on my computer. So I'm thinking I'm talking to somebody totally different for a second, and then I'm like, wait a second, what? Okay, I honestly could not even explain that to anybody at all. I don't even know what happened, but here we are, and I apologize.
I love
Hey,
it. No, I love it.
That's okay. The call's good. It's better than what happened last year. Remember all that commotion I had going on last year?
You know, yes, and thank God I wasn't like cussing and like all mad about something.
Yeah, I have this crazy neighbor across the street. He is paranoid schizophrenic,
Oh,
and he is also an IT guy. So he got into my phone and started, saying all sorts of stuff and was going to kill me, kill my wife, kill my kids.
Oh yeah, that was crazy.
It was bad. And I'm like, I'm going to have to end this podcast.
Luckily, that went away.
Oh, he's still there.
Yeah, but it doesn't bother you anymore.
Let's see. Saturday, he was outside screaming his head off and running around the world in the neighborhood naked.
See, and here's the problem with that is that one day this man is going to do something that's going to make headlines because people like that normally do. Whether it's local, how far that goes, but this dude is definitely going to do something, and then everybody's going to be like, "Why didn't somebody do something sooner?" Because these are all police documented things that occur. You know what I mean? So you know what I'm saying? It's like, when is like this? Somebody does so much to where they got to step in and be like, "Listen, you're a threat to society," or you know what I mean?
Once he becomes a threat to society, he has to do it.
Yeah. I mean, he could have a restraining order.
Darren is going to kill his wife and shit. I mean, that's like,
that's just a restraining order. Yeah.
But the restraining order doesn't really matter, if anything, because he could still violate and don't care.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But he has got a restraining order on a whole school board district on him already.
See, this is what I'm saying. This man definitely needs.
He went to jail for a month and a half, and that was it.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So. Clearly, at this point, somebody should like step in.
Well.
But anyway.
So
I don't know how it even went down that way, but I apologize, Kara. Thank you so much for being so patient in this.
Oh no, this is delightful.
Nice to meet you.
Hi.
Darren, I don't know why Darren continues to he wants me to come on a show with him. I love him to death and I love helping him out, but man, every time it's a big to do.
Well, I figured you were working out because I think, aren't you on a 6-week plan?
I was supposed to be, but I hurt my arms. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, so basically what we've done so far is we've covered how she has the younger years.
How I got here a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then she was just getting into the paranormal stuff.
Okay, awesome.
So now, forgot about all this ghost stuff because I was busy, with kids, basically, kids and life and everything. But then I worked in a really creepy assisted living place that's objectively creepy. But also I worked at night. So now, even creepier. But if there's going to be ghosts to see or things to feel, you really get a chance to do that because everybody mostly is sleeping. So definitely started to kind of remember that I could see, hear, feel ghosts, and kind of be open to that experience. So started to have some experiences there and kind of remembered myself a little bit now that I moved back to the Chicago area and started to pay a lot more attention. Still life in the meantime, I will say from the moment I became a nurse though, like actually became a nurse, I went straight into critical care. I was around death all the time. I stopped seeing anything for a long time and I was really disappointed because I'm going to be honest, if you're into the paranormal, there are situations that you're going to expect to see something, and that would be if you're around death all the time, and I never did. So I was actively kind of disappointed might be strong, but yeah, a little bit. So years later, I moved really close to the old Joliet prison that I had driven by all the time when I was little with my mom, and when it was in operation, but now it was closed. And here I live a couple miles away only, and they started having volunteer days. So I started going to some volunteer days, and we didn't volunteer to do paranormal things. We volunteered to clean it up because it needed to be cleaned. It was abandoned for a long time. And so it was time to clean it and get it ready for guests. Other people were busy seeing ghosts and having things happen. And I was so mad that I wasn't. So mad. And, they just weren't. So finally, and honestly, in hindsight, I think I was actually kind of seeing things, hearing things the whole time, but it was never the big one. It was never big enough. So I would actually say, yeah, I hear somebody walking back and forth there. I see shadows, but it wasn't big enough for me to feel like, well, now I'm seeing ghosts. So that was a couple of years in that finally that happened. And after I finally, had that big moment and, really kind of opened myself up to it, then from there on out, it was, all the time. It was just kind of, you're there with them. Now I kind of liken it to the 28 days haunted concept, like the Warrens 28 days concept. It might have, maybe if we added it all up, it was probably more than 28 days in the sum of hours that we were there working and giving tours and cleaning and all of this stuff. But finally, I think I hit that level of familiarity with the site and everybody that was there in that time. And suddenly, I think I was plenty open to it. And so that was a pretty magical time getting to be there and have those interactions and my time there. And hopefully I'll be back. And that's kind of how I got immersed then in the community. Is that way. So I've always been interested. I've always been seeing, hearing, feeling things, but part of the community because of the prison more recently.
Okay. I have been to the prison. Did a self-guided tour at that point. I think you guys have all left at that point. It was
I think we were already gone by then. Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's not voluntary that we're gone.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And I don't know, is that something you want to talk about, elaborate of kind of what led to all that stuff?
So I think honestly what led to it, it's, a whole lot of who knows really. It's the current leadership. There was the Inspector General's report has been released now. So I think we're a little bit more at liberty to kind of say a few things. There was a leadership change over the last, now year and a half or so that really started to shift where things were. I don't know if it was going in a great direction with leadership that was there. I think there were struggles, but everything was staying, okay enough. With a leadership change, and it's somebody that came in from another site, even in the Inspector General's report, her former place of work, they call her time there the lost years. So she came in here and to an even bigger site. So she had trouble with an organization that was like a quarter of the size and came to this organization, and things really started going wrong quickly and changing. So we were money she's being reported. Yeah, there's a lot going on. Amy commented. So we were suspended at the beginning of last year. So about a year ago, volunteer operations suspended with no explanation. We were told we weren't allowed to talk about it. Even, I think the implication was even amongst ourselves, but weren't allowed to talk, weren't allowed to say anything, or we would never come back, just really like bizarre, even that letter. And it wasn't even directed to us. It was just kind of a general weird thing. And a few people were kind of let back. It was really weird and no answers. And I think it was a lot of, some of it was personal against one person, kind of punish them, have all of us gone. Eventually then some of us 7 of us were fired as either employees or volunteers. I was always a volunteer, but employees were fired. There was like an initial 7, and the 7 of us were all banned from the site, which is very dramatic. We're all fine, upstanding people. So, and banned, so we did make t-shirts for the band, because how could you help it?
Right.
So at that point, the IG investigation was already going. We just, we knew things, and honestly, we didn't realize how big everything was. It was, of course, everybody thinks they're the star of their own show in the center. We're not even like a tip of the iceberg of the problems. We're just, we just happen to get caught up in it. So the Inspector General's report has since come out. The city really didn't want to reveal it. The city wanted to keep it pretty buried because it doesn't make anybody look good, on that level. So we did, show up to some city council meetings, do some things, and finally did get that released. It's definitely buried on the website, but they weren't releasing it even with FOIA requests for, a while. So we did push to get it released. So it is available to the public. And really does talk about a lot of mismanagement and a lot of choices that are made, by leadership. So, so we'll see. There's they did recently get a grant from the city, but it's a very it gives the city a lot of power, and it's a reimbursable grant. So we definitely support the museum. We want the prison to succeed. We want all of this, but there's a lot of money that's been headed to the prison in the form of grants and things that. This is the first time something just this year, like this, it was getting cold. They started tuck pointing the administration building that's already had a lot of collapses, like 2 major ones. Before the more recent one, we were in there like a couple of days before, and we actually could hear things, and we're like, it's probably just raccoons. No, we were hearing the building pre-collapsing as we're walking through it.
Jeez.
So a lot that hasn't been done for years. And so they're doing some tuck pointing, acting, like they're doing something now. And we're like, okay, it needs to be done, but it needed to be done years and years ago, and that's, and money's been coming in. Right. So there's a lot of obvious questions about management, and really with current leadership, it's only, the building contracted as it's falling in on itself, and roofs are, in horrible condition and getting worse all the time. And buildings like the hospital shouldn't go in it, which is such a shame. And I drive past it all the time, and now actually every day for my new job. I started today, but you just see more holes in those roofs all the time, and it's horrible. And they've cut tours, cut revenue, so that there isn't even revenue to, generate for the site. So it's truly, under current leadership, it's really, disappointing. I feel like we will get back. I don't know when and in what capacity, but all we want is for the facility to, keep standing, the admin building to keep standing, at least in its condition, if not stabilized. Obviously stabilizing would be ideal, fixing the roofs, so that it can still be there, because what are we without our history? And the paranormal, of course, ties into it, but it's the history that is so important.
I absolutely agree with you 1,000%. This literally hurts my heart.
It's heartbreaking.
It's devastating. I mean, and it's a shame that more people just don't have that care for, when you have something like that, it's a shame. Now, now it's owned by somebody, or is it owned by
it's still actually owned by the state. It's still IDOC property with a lease. There's a lease to the city. So when they walked away from it, they walked away. Right. And I don't think anybody, honestly, being honest, I don't think anyone thought it would be such a hotbed for urban exploring and breaking in and all this stuff. So it was kind of a blight, really, because it's gorgeous. It's this castle. It was designed by, the guy that built, designed Water Tower Place, Boyington. It's amazing. But it's right there. It's begging you to, if it's just sitting there abandoned for decades, it's just begging people. So, and the trick of it too was, as long as it was abandoned, just left, it was decommissioned. They don't say abandoned, decommissioned. but it was still IDOC property. We do have another prison, Stateville, very, very close as far as big prisons go. You don't see them like that anymore, but it's still like across the river, across a big bridge, across, it takes some time. So because it was still IDOC property, if somebody broke in, the police couldn't go in. Like the Joliet police just had to like wait you out if they're gonna. It would have to be somebody like guards, COs from Stateville. You got time. If you know you were discovered, just hide good enough. And are they even going to make it there? And how many are they going to send? So it wasn't great. And finally, I think in like 2012, but I could be a little wrong. I had just moved into my house not long ago, and there was a big fire. Somebody set fire to some of the buildings, which is such a shame. And that was when it's horrible. And it's where like the mattress factory, like the where they would work. Right. So such cool things that were lost, but also it taught everybody when nobody could get in there. So the fire department couldn't get in because it was all locked up. And that Sally Port like wouldn't open for years. It was, things were in bad condition. Right. So this fire, I saw it from my house. I live like 3-4 miles away, and I saw it and I was like, I think that's the prison, which I don't know why I would have thought that, because anything could burn, I guess, but it burned. And they were just like putting blankets over the walls to climb over to try to shoot water in. It was terrible. So they said, then we got to do something. This is not working. So that's when the deal kind of started, that the city would lease it. The city chose the museum as, like just kind of in a handshake agreement. Hey, it's a museum. Why shouldn't they run it? Right. And it was different leadership at the time, and commissions were formed. And then here we were. So it went along, and it actually was heading in a pretty great direction for a while, really kind of growing until some people chose to push it right in the opposite direction. So yeah, a lot of volunteers, including myself, and a lot of employees too, a lot of hard work in, volunteering to give tours, different kinds of tours. The guard tours, the guards are no longer there. The guard tours were not only super educational and cool and living history, but pretty good for revenue, to bring back to the site and to the museum. And then, of course, very disappointingly, the paranormal tours. So it wasn't just the ghost hunter that really ran the tours and us that were out. They also stopped having paranormal tours altogether. So if it was going to be a rental for a paranormal, that was gone too and canceled.
It's sad, and I say this all the time, once, your motivation is money only, that's when you just don't care what you do to people, who you step on. The volunteers are there out of their own time. They're not getting paid. Mm-hmm. That's work and that's passion. Right. And and yes, you want to make money for the place to, keep it thriving as best as you can. And, when somebody spits on that, like it means nothing, it's kind of it feels personal, when you care about something.
No much. Kidding. Yeah, no. And that was so much, even the employees, it's not like they're paying them. So, that's almost like volunteering. But for the volunteers, coming and, we would give every Saturday, all of that time. And, there would be times that we would do a paranormal tour Friday night, be there Saturday morning cleaning, and then be there Saturday night. And we did it because we love the place. We want to share it. We want people to have the same, opportunity for experiences. And even if it's the daytime tours, by the former guards and everything, that's super valuable, to share these experiences, share this history. And that we did it, would buy our own, I'd buy brooms, I would, it would be, and it's not even the money, it's that we put so much into the site just to have somebody come along that it means nothing to,
right.
And that's when leadership, it's just meaningless to, to them, and they treat everyone and the site like that. It's so disheartening, because it is your heart and soul, and it is home. After I was not there for a couple of months after the original suspension, I got to go in with just a bigger tour, and I could just, I felt welcomed by the site, you know, by the
Yeah.
residents, by, you know, by those that live there, the inmates. I, you know, felt like they were like, okay, whew, you're back. Like you could always feel in the, you know, after you've been gone for a couple months in the winter, you could just feel it kind of like sparkle alive. You know, they could just, you know, you're back, you're back. It's, you know, it's, you could kind of almost hear that. And to feel that after just being gone the couple of months, like they missed us, the site misses us. It has a different, like to look at it, it just looks like it's dying
Like it's
to have
sad.
nobody, you know, with nobody there, and you can just feel it. And it's so sad when you take
Yeah.
away the soul, when you take away, you know, the people that care so much, and you really
Yeah.
take away even just how guests can come in and have that experience. And
Mhm.
so that's my Joliet story.
So is the place like not open? Nobody goes there at all? Like it's not open for anything?
So now, you know, they're going to have, I think, just the self-guideds because,
I did mine in July.
yeah, I think really it's just going to be the self-guideds. I think they kind of canceled everything guided, last year. You know, so really taking away that history from there, you know, so to make sure that nothing, you know,
What
you got the
do you know?
signs.
Do you know what the motivation is behind that? I mean, if you
No,
think,
not especially. I really don't. We could have our theories. We can have
yeah,
our, you know, you know, it's people that never worked in the world of corrections, you know, they had things to say about former COs that actually worked there, former, you know, one of them even like a counselor in the facility. I think it's to never work in corrections, never have that experience, never have that exposure, and try to make decisions about history, you know, what the history was 40 years prior. I think that's wild and disappointing. And really for a museum to do that is,
yeah,
it
it's just
concerns me for how they treat any history, which I know it's not well.
Mhm.
You know, so, you know, but for me, I don't know, they could do what they want with the museum. I don't, you know, I just care about the prison because that's what I care about. If
yeah,
somebody wants to leave them the rest of the history to just throw in the dumpster, that's okay. But that's not my call. But just I hope that the prison gets saved from that leadership and there could be a change. Because yeah, no, I don't know their motivation. I don't know why they want to rewrite what history was and to silence what history actually was.
yeah. I don't get it. Like, I mean, it's clearly somebody that I mean, you want to say that it's the money, but if they wanted the money, they would see that the paranormal brings in money, you know, and
The one making the decision, she's given herself a couple of raises, you know, over her time there, which has been pretty limited. So I don't think she's really concerned about revenue, just her own personal. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think the goal is to grow the site. I think,
It's a
you know,
me
I don't
thing.
think, yeah, I don't think, you know, I don't agree with the motivations, and, you know, they could have their comments about me too, you know, but I don't think it's in the best interest of the site. I don't think it's respectful to those that did live their lives there, that died there. I don't think it's respectful to really erase their history. And,
yeah,
you know, I think that's so dangerous to take a site and erase its history. It is what it is. And there are issues with incarceration to this day, and some of the same issues that we had then. And to not learn from those experiences, you know, to not tell those stories, to not, you know, so whether it's the paranormal or just history,
right, or just
which is
history,
history
right?
too, but you know, and the paranormal is such a, you know, an avenue for history and, you know, in the discussion of history, but to refuse to have those discussions about what history really was, and to really
Mhm.
to share what happened and to learn from it, because there's some horrible things that happen there. It
Mhm.
Oh
is
yeah.
a prison that was in operation since 1858. Like, get out of here. That's older than, like, you know, we say older
Yeah.
than sliced bread. It sure is. It's older than peanut butter. Like, I mean, to think about how different life was then, like,
Oh
isn't that
yeah,
crazy?
yeah,
Like, to think like, wow, they just didn't even have that basic thing. And just like how different. So to shut that history up and try to hide it is wild, and just such a sad fate for everybody that did live and die there. So
So
I hope we get to tell its story better within its walls, one of these days. But
yeah,
I know Dave Schrader went on and really tore him apart. I saw
He
that one.
did.
I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah. I was at work that
So-
morning. I was giggling. I knew he was going to say something. I did, I was aware, but it made me giggle. And then I watched it when I got home, and then I had to giggle. Yeah.
Yeah. But he had a point to do it, so I think he got
Yeah,
his message across.
Yeah, no, and he definitely has done his tours there. He has been, definitely part of the prison story now. So it's, he definitely had a story to tell, and definitely is part of it. Yeah. So Amy said, I thought it was amazing. There were women prisoners with children who were only let out a minimum amount of time. No, it's true. So the administration building at one point, the women just stayed there in the administration building, and they could have kids up to the age of 5. And one day a year they could come out, and they would walk out, and not just the kids, just the women walk out. They would walk around the water thing, cistern. I think there's a better word. Oh my God, I could picture it. Obviously they would come, and that's when it wasn't like crumbling and old. They would walk around that and walk back, and that was their outside time. Eventually across the street, they built the women's prison. So it's like the smaller prison. It's where 13th floor has their haunted house now. So it's Old Joliet Haunted Prison, and they do a really cool job, and it's a great way to get in there. You walk through the new part. Like the new part looks like a today jail, basically, or today prison. But there is an old part that's really cool. But the women were on that side then. Eventually, the women went down to Dwight, another prison that is now closed, and it became just like kind of an intake area. So, but yeah, so the women were moved around a little bit.
Interesting. Now, I did read something that you has ghost hunters on your profile now. Did you?
I was on. Yeah, when they came to the prison, I got to be on. So I got to do my interview and do all my everything from death row. That's my favorite part of the prison. I didn't even get to pick it. They just picked it for me, but it was meant to be. So yeah, I got to be on Ghost Hunters.
What was that
when
like?
they came? It was okay. So I got to say that was like a different experience. So I don't know if you've noticed, but usually with all of these shows, everyone's very serious and they're very scared, and they tell you to do that. So I don't know everybody that gets interviewed if they really enjoy it or if they don't enjoy it, but they're like, like they asked, are you scared of, being here or whatever? And I was like, of course not. This is my favorite place to be. Like, why would I? And they're like, no, you have to say yes. I was like, oh, and they're like, and be like serious and scared. So that was that was such an experience for me, because I don't know. Until then, I guess I thought literally everybody on these ghost shows was just very they're very serious people all the time. They're not. Once you actually meet them in person, they're not like very serious people and scared all the time. Like they aren't. That's just like what they do for the shows. I think that's why Chris Fleming, I love him. Like in person, he's the coolest, but also like when he's on his shows, he's excited about it. And that's how he is in real life. Like I love that so much, because if we didn't enjoy it, why are we doing this? And if we aren't enjoying it, like, why are we so serious? And we love it. That's, nobody's serious, at a Paracon or doing all this stuff. We love it. And it's exciting. And it's a fun thing to, interact and everything. So I just never, before the Ghost Hunters, appearance, I never understood, I never realized that that's what you do. You're supposed to just be very serious all the time on these things. And that's not how I roll.
So I thought, there was I thought Ghost Hunters, I thought they were normal. You know what I mean? Like they, you'd get mad, but then you would also they made, they even had a whole episode dedicated to outtakes from like Steve and Tango. It was the
See,
funniest.
and I think they do better. Yeah, I think they do better than other shows, but like, no, they still want to make, like, I think they have a little bit more fun.
Yeah.
But no, like all these interviews you see and everything, you have to be very serious and they tell you, and you have to be scared.
Hey, Brad. And his show, Ghost Lab, those were the two shows I loved. And I thought that those shows were, I didn't think they were so serious. A lot of the shows.
That's why they're the better ones.
Yeah.
That's why they're better.
Yeah. They were good. I missed that show.
I still watch a few shows. I still mainly watch right now is Project Fear on YouTube. I watch that a lot.
Oh yeah, I like them.
Yeah, they're good kids.
Yeah, they are. They're nice.
They try doing different things, and I do like that. But sometimes they
now are like that. Everybody.
Sometimes they get ahead of themselves.
Yeah,
you know,
they
don't think all the way through what they do sometimes, but it is for TV,
and that's okay. At least that's a little bit more human, and I like that.
Yeah, and then YouTube, they can be themselves now. They don't have to pretend when they're on Travel Channel. So so that was a big thing, and that's what I liked. I like to change, being authentic. So
yeah, I agree.
So, what is your favorite? Obviously, we know a lot of our pieces of gear is ourselves, but
I was gonna say that.
Do you have any piece of equipment that you really just kind of hone in on your investigations and just kind of this is it, this is all I'm using, and everything else you guys can use it, you know?
I think so. I'm a big like myself fan, because I think, short of, the capturing the evidence, right? Like I enjoy it, like spectating a little bit and seeing like when you're on an investigation with other people, what they're doing. Cause I enjoy that learning, but that doesn't mean it's my favorite piece of equipment. I think for me, and it's funny to say equipment, but like it's probably my phone or a camera to be able, like if something is happening, to catch it, because I think, I feel like that's more concrete. You could trust it. Something like a REM pod, it's just like too boring for me. Like, what am I going to, even if something is touching it, I'm like, ooh, it's just, I'm not that excited about it. Like, it's cool. I can go, that's why I say, like, that's why I think of other people. I want somebody else to have a REM pod over there that, like, when it goes off, I can go, and then that's kind of that, I like, but this isn't just a me thing. I love a good Estes session. I think that's that's probably like it's, and so it's not one piece of equipment, but that's probably then, other than like me and a camera type of a thing, I think an Estes session is like my favorite, because I can't, I find a group of people listening to a spirit box, I think is one of the more annoying things that we can do. I don't know. It's just noisy. And then, as it could be 2 people, or it could be, 20 people, everyone's saying, all the time, like for things they think they heard. And it just feels chaotic, even when it's like 2 people, it feels like a lot, but there's something about an Estes session that just feels, more refined, and it's one person that has to listen to it, not everybody, and one person saying things. And it just always really astounds me and feels so real. It feels like actual, like proof of actually interacting and talking during that Estes session. It feels like actual connection, not just what I think it's saying and what a group thinks it's saying. It feels like actual connection and actually like evidence.
Yeah.
So I think that's always like my go-to favorite.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen people get lost, just lost themselves doing the Estes method. Sometimes we have to break them out of it after sometimes 30 minutes of doing it. I've seen people doing the Delco experiment. I don't know if you've seen that, where they have the goggles, the yellow goggles and all that stuff on. So that I think it gets a little bit more refined in that one, I guess. It happened at the museum that I run the paranormal stuff there, and things got really crazy at that point. And I'm like, hey, need to break away. It's getting a little too
Yeah.
hectic, but they kept on going, and it made the building upset for 3 days because they just went too
Oh,
far.
wow.
But they got a little disrespectful, but it's
Oh,
you
so you
know,
can't do that.
yeah. Sometimes things just and they don't realize they're doing it. That's just it. Um, but yeah, that's I see. I have a hard time doing the SS method. I usually have somebody else do it, and I'll ask the questions, and then it oh, I tell you, it gets to be a dandy once in a while.
I'm not I'll go into a location with just the recorders. That's it. I don't need a camera I don't need video and picture or anything like that. First of all, it's really hard to capture anything like that, but
It is, yeah.
it is. But so I have like 7 recorders, and I'll put them and I will sit in a place for 20 minutes in silence. I would love it because I can sometimes hear with my ear. So for me, I love to be able to that instead of having any spirit boxes on or anything that makes like the
Mhm.
constant noise and all that, because I
Yeah.
can hear so well with my ears. So that's why I like just, I'll play with the gadgets. I don't like things that were made for ghost hunting. Like I'll use like other stuff, like things that the electricians would use or something like that, if I
Yeah.
use, but I will use them. You know what I mean? Like if other people have them, and stuff, and we'll use them for communication or whatever. But for me, it'd be a recorder. I wouldn't leave home
See, I
without it.
think for me it's the camera, like, and even video, because then you could hear, but
Mhm.
also I think it just for me to focus on listening to this stuff for 20 minutes, I just can't do that, like, just in my
Yeah.
own, like, I think I'm just more of a, there's audio visual, I'm more visual. So I think, like, same premise, I think, like, that you capture it, but I think I also need something more, or I will probably never listen to it, and that's just I know me. So,
Oh,
I totally love, like, that you
this-
can sit there and listen to it, that's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah. And that works though, the video. Like I went live
Yeah.
on Facebook during an investigation at Selma Mansion. So I'm live on Facebook, and literally we heard a disembodied whistle. Everybody heard it
That's
watching. It got
awesome.
captured on the live. You know what I mean? So it is
That's
awesome
fantastic.
when you have that
Yeah.
live and people hear it. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Hear it. People hear it. The thing is there's 10 of us, and only 2 of us that were in Selma actually heard it, and the people that were
Oh,
watching heard it though. So
that's so cool.
that was what was cool, right? So you can capture stuff like that. If you're going to use
Yeah,
it,
that is so
video, audio,
cool.
yeah, if you're
Uh,
going to use video, audio, that totally works,
Yeah.
and
uh,
it's real time too.
right,
Yeah, no,
right.
with the live, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Now to piggyback off of her with the live is also a friend of mine, a group of mine. Say that. Friends of mine at the Sally House a few years ago. They had the live going in the kids' room, and they left it sit. They went to lunch, and they're like, "Hey, let us know what happens." Okay, so I have my ANC headphones on because it makes it feel like you're right there. And then other people were in chat with me as well. And about 20 minutes later, I'm like listening. I'm like, "Hey, that's so and so in the kitchen downstairs." And a few minutes later, the lady's like, "Yeah, that's her." So I call him up. I say, "Hey, are you still at the house?" And like, "No, we've been gone for 20 minutes." Well, I just swear I heard her voice down in the kitchen. So, I mean, to catch a doppelganger effect on live is another
That's
very cool thing.
awesome.
Yeah, that is cool.
It doesn't happen too often, though.
No. And that's the same thing. Like speaking of Brad caught one of the coolest videos I've ever seen. He caught it was like the old VHS, camcorder thingies. They were in Gettysburg, and I said he got a digital recording of a natural recording. So he caught a regiment of soldiers walking across the field. I mean, like you can see the battle flags and everything.
They
were there 1 second, gone the next.
Jeez.
And I was like, you captured you digitally captured a natural recording. Like that's, to me, I'm like, that's the coolest thing
That's
ever.
so cool. It's so cool just like putting it like that. Like when you say it like that, like it just sounds ooh, like
yeah. It like, to me, the concept of that is like because you hear about stuff, like we all call it what, residual, right? You hear about this stuff,
Yeah.
you see it happening over and over again. You know how many? I mean, for centuries, like people have been saying they've see people in Gettysburg, like either regiments of soldiers, or they think the reenactments, or hospitals, Civil War hospitals being set up. People see this stuff all the time there. And you say, oh yeah, it's a residual. You saw something residual. Well, what are the chances to get it on record?
That's wild. Like that's amazing.
Like, you don't know. It's crazy to me. So anyway, I digress. I went back into
oh, that's all right.
It was fantastic.
So let's get into your new show with Paige Dalton and the is it still Into the Obscure?
It's Into the Obscure. Yep, still is. So Into the Obscure. So still, like that talk show format. So still, having a talk show where, like a podcast, except not live, and then Paraflix exclusive. So we'll have, sometimes our friends, sometimes people we maybe didn't get to talk to before, because that's kind of the cool thing with these talk shows, that you get to say, I want to talk to that person, and then you do, so sometimes it's people we say that would just be a lot of fun, but definitely our friends too, kind of all coming around. So we already started filming, and then we'll be getting pretty full swing into hopefully getting the first season done before we know it. And it's released on Paraflix. So we're really excited about that. And kind of hang out with Paraflix at events and everything. And, just be part of that family.
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, and Paraflix is really starting to grow. And that's the thing. It's really starting to get out there. So yeah, you can get Paraflix on your Apple phones or on your Apple devices, and also on Android. I believe you can get Paraflix, and
on
Roku,
on any
Roku,
phone.
you can get it.
Roku, and well, just like Amazon TV, it's an app. Like I think that's how I, just my Amazon enabled TVs. It's an app on, I think it's an app on everything. So like any streaming service, same way, well, you don't have to download Netflix because it's on everything, but same way you would get that, and you just subscribe to it. So it's just a streaming service like anything else, with all these cool shows, and definitely some other talk shows, and a whole lot of investigation shows and everything. So it's a good time.
Yeah, I believe it's only $4 a month. So
it is. And with the code obscure25, you get 25% off of your subscription.
There you go. Hear her first.
I have to plug that.
Oh yeah, plug it away.
Yeah, we will. So yeah, follow me and Paige on Paige at Work Tonight. I think we already said that, but follow me and Paige on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. And we will be promoting the snot out of the show when it comes time. And, we still are already a little bit, but once it's time to release the episodes, we absolutely will be. And we'll be encouraging you again to subscribe to Paraflix at that time again.
Awesome.
Yeah, I gotta tell you though, like Paraflix, like really has, whether or not people like shows or disagree or they don't investigate, whatever. I feel like a lot of the people that I know that have shows there or do that, I mean, you guys work your asses off. It's a lot.
It's true. It's a lot of work. Yeah, no, this show thing is work. And they really, the teams that we know, they really, I don't know how, they really have a passion, and they really, do the work, because I, thank God I just have a talk show, so I don't have to be, traveling around. I get a little jealous when I'm like, you're doing all the cool things, but it is so much work to, go to this place, set it up, do the investigation, put the show together and everything. It's great work. It's super cool. It's, a great time, but it really, talk about passion. They really do have a passion for the field and for, the research and everything to put it all out there and do that work. Because it's not just the investigation, which can be a lot to do on its own, but then also to produce the show.
Yeah. I mean, it is a lot of work. I'm like, all right, guys, I'm going live on Facebook, live investigation, unedited for like 4 hours. I mean, like it's brutal, right? Nobody wants to watch that, but I still do it, right? Because I don't know how to edit shit. I don't know how to edit.
Oh yeah, no, that's why I say for you to like just listen to tapes, like you just record stuff and listen. I'm like, that's hard. Oh, I don't have that level.
I fall asleep during the middle of it, and I have to go back.
Yeah, man, I have out, and not only and I have like 5 recorders. So if we're investigating for 4 hours, that's 5 recorders, 4 hours each. You know what I'm saying?
Minutes, 20 hours.
That's insane. So, and then the hard thing is, even when you're listening, or if it's video and you're watching, whatever you're doing, you have to actually like pay attention. If you start like doing something else or letting somebody talk to you or whatever, you gotta like you said, Darren, you have to go back and do it again. You can't, because what if you miss something? What if that was the second,
so but then you also got to tag everything too.
I started listening to one of them, right? It's like I picked one that didn't have a lot on it. So I was like, all right, this one's 10 minutes. All right. I literally have tried to listen to that 4 times. 10 minutes. 10 minutes long. I have had to 4 times.
I understand. No, I really, truly understand. That's why I couldn't even, at least video kind of makes me like, okay, I'm going to stare at the video. Okay. And listen. I can't imagine just listening. I'd be like turning on music on, so it could drown it out. I don't know.
I love it. For me, it's easy. Like, number one, there's 7 of us, there's 7 girls, right? We have so much fun together. And when we investigate, right? So, and not just them, but there's other people I investigate with, but mostly them. I mean, we bust each other's balls all the time. So like, I'm listening to it. My recorder does not shut off and they know it. You know what I mean? So there's time we get so many bloopers on there. Like,
so that's fun then. Okay. So then you're like listening to your night again. That I could do. I think I would like find that hilarious. You're right. Yeah. Okay. I can see the value in this.
And sometimes just getting the one EVP is just so worth it to me, because that's my favorite type of evidence to get, right? EVPs. I love EVPs. So I could listen to something for 4 hours. If I get one little hi, or some shit, I'm like,
yeah.
It's like, see, watching.
You're not wrong. Yeah, I absolutely. Yeah.
It's like watching a meteor shower. You see one go flying across, you're like, oh my God, that was great. And then you like sit there for hours waiting to see another one. Right.
And you still feel good about it though. Like it still felt good because you saw the one. You don't regret that time after. No. You're like, it was still fantastic. You're right. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So when I listen to mine, I listen with the ANC headphones because it shuts everything off from the outside. And not to mention it, I have my phone. So everything I catch, time it, what it was. I have this whole list. Then I know what section I gotta go. Then I send it to the person that needs to go to send to on email, along with a list of so they can follow it. So that's kind of what I usually do. It does. I mean, I get a lot of Class A EVPs with just the one recorder I use. I was using 2. I was using a Tascam, and then I went to a Philips, and I love my Philips that I just don't go back to anything else because it's so clean. So
I like Olympuses.
Yeah, I've thought about getting something like that, but it's just like the more I use the Philips, I just nothing compares to it to me. So, but anyhow, let's see, what was I going to talk about? Oh yes, so I have a few small questions, like trivia questions in a way.
Okay.
Oh, trivia.
So, well, not more like trivia, but like kind of like, okay, so you have 5 days in one haunted location.
Oh.
Where would it be and why?
Oh.
Instead of a bucket list, I'd like to say you get a week, but it has to be one place, and where would it be? Because everybody does bucket list. It gets old.
Yeah, no, so the 5-day thing makes this like interesting because where do you want to spend 5 days? Probably a lot of places. I would. I'm gonna say, and it's like it's that whole like can't go to it, and maybe if you go to it, it's just super dangerous and it wouldn't be fun. But I'm gonna say, what is it? A real generic answer, Pavalia Island, like off Venice, because I
there you
think
go.
for 5 days to explore
That's a
that,
good
because I'm like,
choice.
where would I want to go? Like, not like a little haunted asylum or jail. Like 5 days would be plenty. But I feel like an island, you could, I feel like there's going to be a lot to explore.
Mm-hmm.
See
You
movies
got
about
time
that.
to yourself.
Yeah, I feel like that would be okay.
I'd be scared.
Yeah.
I would be scared.
Well, at least
See,
you didn't
I
say
feel
Doll
like
Island.
no, not Tall Island. No, thank you. Not even for 5 hours. No, but like that would be the interesting thing with Pavalia Island to see, like, is it because part of the lore is that
Yeah.
they just say it's very haunted, but it's
Right.
actually just a building is gonna fall on you. So they're like,
Mhm.
please do not go there and die yourself. So I think a little bit too, like, kind of that urban exploration is intriguing too. Like how I love, love that like decay and ruin and
Me too.
crusty and peely and ooh. So I think that's part of my answer too. So even if there's nothing haunted, nothing weird happens, I bet it's pretty gorgeous. And it, probably has that smell, that
I'm
we all
sure
know
it
and
does. The
love.
smell of
So,
death.
so yeah, just I think that's my 5 days. And then it's probably just gorgeous, weather. It's probably just a nice place to be, is my guess. That's what I'm going with.
All right, all right. So what's one object in the whole world? One object in the whole world that you never want to be haunted. It could be anything.
Oh, like if it was haunted, that would be bad.
If you never, like, say, some people say their cell phone, or
Oh,
Oh, you mean like my cell phone?
yeah,
like, well, I was gonna say we have a haunted
Oh,
cell phone today. Oh my God. Well, I mean, of course, and this is, I'm not even saying, I 1,000% my cell phone, because I like live and breathe for it, and buy it and because of it. So that would be horrible. Like but that just I feel is like the gimme. Oh my God, nobody wants their cell phone to be haunted because we see what happens when it is.
right.
So
number one answer is toilet.
oh okay. All right.
And even once on a radio show, someone said a butt plug.
Oh,
Well, I mean, I don't know why
sure.
I would want that to be haunted.
Yeah, I'm not like disagreeing with their sentiment there.
Me neither.
Um,
I'm like, okay.
so
Wasn't
what's funny
expecting
about that? What's funny about that answer? A couple of things, but what's funny about that answer is that here I'm thinking like things that are essential, so
Right,
like
me
not
too.
my cell phone,
Yeah.
not, oh God, not my toilet, please. Like that's essential. I'll even, say shower or even my sink, on this line, I'm thinking essential.
Right. Yeah.
Were they thinking of the essentials when they came up with that
Keeping up
answer?
with
Maybe.
it was no hesitation. It came right out like a flow. I'm like, holy crap.
Can't live without it. It's just, if it were haunted, life as we know it would end. So that's weird to me. That's funny.
But on the flip side, what would you want to be haunted?
My vacuum cleaner.
Oh, that's a good one.
So I'd rather have my car, so it drives me everywhere.
Yeah,
but where's it going to drive you, and what is it going to do when it's driving you?
Yeah, you ever see Christine?
Take me to haunted
Movie
location.
Yeah, I was like, there's a whole movie based on that.
Oh yes, Christine. Yeah.
Saying.
So I would say like kind of an easy answer is like my house, right? Because then that could be fun, but then it's not necessarily a good haunting. So the cemetery down the street. So anytime I go, something happens and it's cool,
Right.
but it's down the street.
There you go. There you
Safe.
go. Safe. So the last one, it's kind of like the other two, but instead of like not wanting to be haunted or wanting to be haunted, this one is, what's one object in the world you never want to hold?
Oh. I assume we're thinking like paranormal, right? Or like,
Well, anything.
I
It
mean,
could be anything.
oh, because I'm gonna be like something disgusting. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I'm with you on
One
that.
of them said that never want to hold anything from the Holocaust.
Oh, okay. I just was thinking of like fecal matter. We're talking about toilets and butt plugs. So that's, I think, like where I was like, that haunted butt plug. Might be my answer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Haunted butt plug.
Like there are like so many places all of these answers can go that like when you like give your example, I'm like, oh, I like it's just so broad and all over. Yeah, okay. Yes, anything from the hall. Yes, that's just without, I would never ever want to. I feel like I don't want to ever hold Robert the doll.
There you go.
He still creeps me out, like still a little too
Listen, I'm
creepy.
superstitious. I don't know if I believe in all of that stuff, but I'm superstitious.
I don't know, but like there is something about him, of all of like the haunted dolls and haunted things. Maybe I just saw enough of the documentaries when I was little, or probably not little, probably my 20s. I'm like, when I'm little, no, like probably like my 20s. There's something about that one, even when they were like selling the like little Robert the dolls, like around Christmas time, they were selling them. Like I think they were kind of expensive. Anyway, I was tempted to get one, and then I was like, that's inviting that little guy into my world. No, thank you, because he creeps me out. So there's something about even like a recreation. Yeah, and dolls, just dolls in general. I don't want to hold dolls in general.
No, punt them. Punt anytime I can get one.
Mine would be my number one would be roaches.
Okay.
I have such a phobia. And then number two would be anything from like the Egyptian era where like they were all like believed in all like the curses and all the stuff, whatever. I feel like if I were to go into something like that, I would be so afraid, just because again I'm superstitious and I'm not saying I don't like that stuff.
I forgot I forgot because I avoid it, and it's really easy to avoid when you don't go to like the field museum, like natural history museums. When I was younger, and you always go to museums for field trips and stuff, literally all of the Egyptian stuff, I think it's cool on a TV show, but like they have a big Egyptian exhibit at the field museum. All of this really, really old stuff, I would get nauseous when I would look at. Like I, probably was like feeling something, like old mirrors. I really get nauseous with sometimes, like in the museum. So no, it's funny that you say that. Like when you bring up that, I forgot all about it because I just avoid. I'm like, I'm not going to the whole museum because it would make me nauseous. Because there's something. So yeah, no. That's, speaking of things I don't want to hold. I'm going with Robert the doll. I don't want to hold him either. And anything from the Holocaust, I totally agree. But it's that really old Egyptian stuff too. I totally forgot. I just like put that out of my head. You're right.
I'm serious. Like every time I watch a show or anytime somebody's like cracking open a tomb, I'm like, oh, they're fucked. I'm like, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean,
it's true.
They just opened up Pandora's box. It's over. Like,
it's true.
I wouldn't do it. I would. Oh my God, people are crazy that do that stuff. I mean, it would be cool to see King Tut, but
sure.
I wouldn't touch a thing, not even the walls.
No, I agree. I agree with you. Yeah, that's.
I
totally forgot about that Egyptian phobia thing I have. Ancient Egyptians,
like a mummy before I go in there, so I don't touch nothing.
So yeah, the one thing I wouldn't want to touch is the Hellraiser cube.
Oh, I never even thought of that.
I don't want those things in my house at all, tearing me apart.
Oh,
no. No human centipede. You'd stay out of there. Anyhow, so yeah, this is a fantastic interview. Got to have you back on again. We'll get Paige on with
Thank
you next
you.
time.
Absolutely.
Sorry,
So
I messed it up in the beginning.
oh,
apologize.
you're fine.
I found that to be delightful, truly.
Hey, people like that
You're
stuff.
such a good sport. Thank you.
Once again, how can people get a hold of you?
You can find me on so you can find me on Facebook primarily. That's probably everybody has their social media. That's kind of their jam, and like what they kind of connect with the easiest. And for me, that's Facebook. Maybe who knows why, but definitely Facebook, Instagram. So Kara Phillip for Facebook, Kara Phillip Official for Instagram. I'm on TikTok, and we have the show pages. So Into the Obscure. So Into the Obscure on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And then follow Paige Dalton also, because she'll be on with me next time. And she's on Into the Obscure with me.
Awesome. I love the title, by the way.
Thank you.
It's a good title.
Artwork is pretty cool too. I like that artwork.
Yeah, thank you.
So, all right, folks. Thank you for joining us tonight. Remember, you've been watching the Paranormal Brew and the BB3 TV networks and on Facebook. And if you don't have Facebook, you can go to the MGS Paranormal YouTube channel. So, other than that, I just want to say thank you, everybody, for grabbing your tickets for this coming weekend's Valentine's Investigation at the Washoe County Historical Museum. The event is sold out, so I'm pleased for that.
It's awesome.
Other than that, yeah, I'll see you guys next week, Monday. It'll be the last show for a while. I got to take a break, and I got some new people coming on later in the year because I was just at a fair, mystical wellness fair yesterday, so I got about 5 new people to come on. So
that's awesome.
And want to be talking to aliens. So it'll be interesting. So other than that, she's Taryn, that's Kara, and I'm Darren. Thank you guys for joining us tonight, and I bid you adieu. So long, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.